So I called it. I told you Amber would be back, and here we are in the final segment of the Dateline interview. Welcome back, Rise Tribe. My name is Angelica. I have 30 years of experience as a psychotherapist, and I'm also a domestic violence survivor. So grab your mega pint and let's break it down.
Some people might ask, why? Are you brave? Are you reckless? Are you vindictive? Why did you want to do an interview?
The one thing I can tell you is, one thing I'm not is vindictive. There's no part of me that sees any, this would be a really lousy way to get vengeance.
What do you hope to get across here?
Okay, first of all, of course she's not going to admit to being vindictive, but we know, us domestic violence survivors, we know that, yes, they are vindictive. And as I've said before in my previous videos of part 1 and part 2, that I do believe that she has narcissistic personality disorder. I've seen the symptoms. And frankly, I don't know why she didn't receive that diagnosis. I also believe that, yes, she has symptoms of borderline and histrionic personality disorder. But for sure, one characteristic of narcissistic personality disorder is that they are vindictive. They are very manipulative, very vindictive, very deceitful, and, they are compulsive liars, and they are very envious. And of course, she's not going to admit to that here.
You've had everything said about you. What do you wish people, one of you?
Okay, first of all, let me just say she wants to be seen as human. So let's look at the human part of Amber. The human part of Amber, the human part of NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, is that disorder, she developed that disorder because of her abuse, because of her severe emotional and physical abuse. And this happens at a very early age. And because of this abuse, this is when she will begin manipulating in order to get her needs met, in order to survive. This is when somebody with that disorder, they will start to lie and manipulate, because it's a defense mechanism, because they are being abused. And it starts from a very, very young age. And this is why it's very difficult to overcome. It's because a lot of these behaviors are unconscious. So, yes, I do see the human part of her. That is a human part. It's not, this is, my reaction is not just about trashing Amber. I'm reacting here in order for everyone to understand both sides better.
Can you understand that?
Absolutely. I can understand that. I would not blame the average person for looking at this and how it's been covered and not think that it is Hollywood brats at their worst. But what people don't understand is it's actually so much bigger than that. This is not only about our First Amendment right to speak.
But here's the thing about the First Amendment. The First Amendment protects free speech. It doesn't protect lies that amount to defamation. And that was the issue in the case.
Yes, exactly. Free speech does not protect you if you go into a crowded theater and you scream fire. We get the concept of free speech from the Greeks. But my understanding of what that means is not just the freedom to speak. It's the freedom to speak truth to power.
But truth is the word.
Yes.
And that was the issue.
And that's all I spoke.
So how did...
Yes, so as I've said before, somebody with NPD is a compulsive liar. And, she's able to lie this way, probably because she's been lying her whole life. And I'm not just talking about Amber, but people, narcissists in general, abusers in general. They become compulsive liars as a defense mechanism, as a way to survive. Because if, when you're being abused, you're being put down constantly as a child, you will lie in order to get the approval of your parent, because they don't want to be beaten. So they will lie. They don't want to be not just beaten, they don't want to be put down. And so they lie. And so that becomes a way of life. It becomes second nature. It's very easy. And it's their life. And so, like I said before, they will pass a polygraph test because there's no physiological change with their lies. Because there's no guilty feeling. There's no empathy. Because for the person with narcissistic personality disorder, they have long ago cut off their emotions. Their emotions get cut off at a very early age because their whole situation is too painful. It's too painful to be with parents that don't love you the way that you need to be loved. You're not feeling love from your parents, from one or both parents. This is how the personality disorder or personality disorders, borderline, histrionic, a narcissistic, whichever one, this is how they get developed, because the child is not being loved the way that they should be. They're not feeling the love. They're feeling hate. They may be feeling hate. And I've been in the presence of a narcissist. I've been in the presence of many, and you feel disdain, you feel hate. And because the parent is this is like the parent does to the child what was done to them. They are reenacting. It's an intergenerational cycle of abuse. So this is the origins of the lies, and it's just second nature, and this is why this is happening.
Did it all come to this?
See you down the road.
Amber Laura Heard grew up outside Austin, Texas, with big dreams of Hollywood stardom. After moving to Los Angeles at the age of 17, she booked a string of TV and movie roles. In 2009, she got a call that would change her life. It was from superstar Johnny Depp, who wanted her to co-star with him in a film called The Rum Diary. He was 46. She was half his age, 23.
He's such a pleasure to work with. He's even better than I could have imagined him to be, which is saying something.
After several years of dating, the couple got engaged.
Is that an engagement ring? Does that mean you're engaged?
What would you consider it?
I think you look engaged. Congratulations.
Thank you. She's a wonderful girl and very good for me.
But the marriage didn't last long.
So like I said before, so what happens in this kind of relationship? What happens in this narcissistic relationship is love bombing. So at the beginning of the relationship, it's just out of this world. It's, you are romanced. It's, you feel as though the person is your soulmate because the person takes on your personality. As I said before, the narcissist, they are amazing chameleons. They take on the persona of other people. So when they're with somebody, as part of the love bombing, they take on the personality traits of that person. So they get to know your likes and dislikes. What are you into? So, she got into the books that Johnny got into. All of a sudden, Johnny was amazed. She loves the same quirky books and the same quirky music. She loves the same things. We're soulmates. This is fascinating. She's amazing. This is exactly what happened to Johnny. This is what happened to me. It's what happens to others that are involved in a narcissistic relationship like this. And so this is why, Johnny, He fell in love with her. But this is also the most painful thing about these relationships. And Johnny conveyed that in the trial. And he was just, he said like he felt as though he didn't know. He didn't know who she was, who, she turned into this other person. That's the most devastating thing, is when you realize that your reality as you've known it, has not been your reality. You feel as if you've been in love with this person. You feel as if this person has been in love with you. You thought you were in this loving relationship. Johnny thought he was in this loving relationship. And then all of a sudden, this happens. All of a sudden, she's involved in the Me Too. All of a sudden, she's accusing him of abuse. And, all hell breaks loose all of a sudden. And where did it come from? After he thought that she was his soulmate, after he thought we have so much in common, this is such an amazing relationship. Because he was in love, and he believed that she was in love with him. He believed her. And this happens to all of us. This happens to every person that's involved with somebody that has narcissistic personality disorder. It's as if you're falling in love with yourself because they are imitating you. They imitate us. And it's bizarre, once that veil, once that is unveiled, that, this person is not who you thought, is shocking. It leaves you numb. You don't know what to think. It's just, it's unreal, which is what Johnny said. It was unreal. He didn't know what to think anymore. I think he still doesn't know what to think. I don't know if he fully realizes what the kind of relationship that he's been involved in. I don't know if he fully realizes that he was involved in a narcissistic relationship. And it would serve him to learn about this, to figure it out, so that he doesn't end up repeating it, because he needs to learn about the red flags.
Did you worry?
Okay, the op-ed was about annihilating Johnny. Okay, let's call a spade. Let's, cut to the chase. The op-ed was about annihilating Johnny, annihilating his career, because as I said before, the person with MPD will try to annihilate the victim, the target, the person that they're with. Okay, because they don't want us to do better than them. They become envious. So she became envious of Johnny's career. Okay, this is my take on it. It's possible. Okay, it's not for certain, but this is my take on it. Okay, this is my reaction to all of this, is that she likely became envious of his career, envious of his fame, because the narcissist doesn't want you getting more attention than they do. They don't want you doing better than they're doing. And if you are, then they're going to try to destroy you. So that's exactly what she did to Johnny. Okay? First, she lures him in with all the love bombing and all of that. She gets in the relationship. She gets the ring, gets the wedding, and she even gets out of the prenup agreement. Okay? She got out of the prenup agreement. How? She advanced the wedding date. So they get married sooner than they were supposed to. As soon as he starts talking about a prenup agreement, boom, they got married. Then after they got married, she starts talking, he asked for a post-nup agreement. What happened then? Let me remind you, if you're not aware, that's when she threw a fit. Okay? Histrionic personality disorder here in full force, borderline narcissist in full force. This is where they were in Australia. This is where She threw a fit. She became violent, and she followed him into 5 bathrooms and 2 bedrooms. He was running away from her, as he always did, running away from her as she was, throwing fits, throwing her tantrums. This is an adult tantrum. She's functioning as a toddler. Narcissistic personality disordered people function as toddlers, but they're adult toddlers, okay? So she's throwing a tantrum. She's getting violent. He's escaping. Finally, he starts drinking again after being sober for months. He goes and he starts drinking again. And then what happens? This whole kitchen scene started then. This is the kitchen scene that we've seen over and over again. This is also where she throws the vodka bottle at him and she severs his finger. She severed his middle finger, okay, which she denied. All right, but there's proof of that, and we saw the videos. But this is what happened. This is what happened. She tried to annihilate him in all of this. And she did. She did. She ruined his career for 6 years.
Gosh, I'd love to be a person weighing in on these cultural issues, but that's going to stir this all up again.
That's a great question, and one that I wish was considered more seriously, because it's important.
When you wrote this op-ed, it was the height of Me Too. Legions of powerful men being canceled, losing their jobs. Did you want that to happen to Johnny Depp?
Of course not. It wasn't about him.
Okay, first of all, the narcissist does not give a shit, honestly. They don't care about their target. They don't care about the victim. They don't care about anybody else but themselves. I know this sounds harsh. I'm not saying this to shit on the narcissist, okay? I'm very much an empath. But it's the narcissist that shits on people, okay? Like, literally and figuratively. Like, she did that. Narcissist borderline. That is so borderline. I've worked with many. But, this is not about shitting on Amber. The reality is somebody with MPD does not care about anybody else's feelings. It's about me, myself, and I. It's about themselves. They don't do anything unless there's something in it for themselves. Don't get it twisted. Hear me again. They do not do anything unless there's something in it for themselves. That is the harsh reality. And this is like, maybe it goes down to, the toddler again. Like, the toddler is very egocentric. And, the somebody with MPD, they function as a toddler. They are an adult toddler. So the toddler is very egocentric. It's all about their world, themselves, which is normal for a little toddler, which is normal for a kid, because they're trying to get their needs met. And when they don't get their needs met, they become manipulative. They become liars. They, and so this is what's happening with an adult NPD. So this is why, no, she doesn't care about the consequences of Johnny. She cares only in the sense that now she wants to see him destroyed because she's envious, because she doesn't want him to be happy. Somebody with NPD does not want the person that they're with to be happy. They want them to be as miserable as they are. The person with NPD wants you to be as miserable as they are.
Johnny Depp disagreed and filed a $50 million defamation lawsuit against her.
Good morning.
She countersued, all of which led to the recent showdown in court. I don't have to remind you that you've been found liable for defamation against Johnny Depp. Having been found liable, are you nervous as we are here today about what you can say now?
Of course. I took for granted what I assumed was my right to speak, not just about what I lived through, but what I knew.
Do you feel like you could be sued again by him for defamation?
I'm terrified, which is what I guess the defamation lawsuit is meant to do. It's meant to take your voice.
Yes, and as I've said before, Amber's voice was not taken away. Okay, she took away Johnny's voice. Johnny is the one that was silenced during their relationship. And Johnny said that. Johnny testified to that. He said that he was silenced. He said that he did not have a voice. He could not speak. Okay, and he couldn't speak. He was shut down and shut up all the time because she berated him all the time. Incessant, nonstop, nagging, berating, put downs. He could not speak. He was the one that was silenced, not Amber.
Have you ever physically assaulted Miss Heard?
Never.
Have you ever sexually assaulted Miss Heard?
Never. Certainly not.
What have you lost as a result of Miss Heard making these allegations against you?
Nothing less than everything.
Depp said.
Yes, that's been said before that he lost $40 million estimated because of, the whole Me Too movement. And also, Johnny has no previous records against him. He has no previous record of any domestic violence. Amber does, however. She had a 2009 file put against her from one of her exes. Okay, so like I said before, she took on the persona of an abused woman. She studied abused women, in order to, become like involved in this Me Too movement. She studied it, is my take. She learned about, the symptoms, what it's all about. She learned the language. But as Johnny said, she had a need for drama, like this need to fight. And, one of two things happens when you're in a situation of abuse as a child. Now, both Johnny and Amber, they were both abused as children. One of two things happens. Either you become the victim or you become an abuser. So in Amber's case, they were both physically and emotionally abused, both Amber and Johnny. Amber became an abuser. Johnny became the victim. So, and both are defense mechanisms. So, Johnny he tried to escape. He took the beatings and then he would go to his room, or he would just try to hide. He would try to hide somewhere. Amber, she, I imagine, took the beatings too, but she became an abuser also. So she became like the abuser. She allied with the abuser. And a child will do that in order to be less abused, is my take. Because if you're sort of allied with the abuser, you side with the abuser, you're less likely, or this is probably the thinking, is that you're less likely to be abused if the abuser believes that you're on his side. And so this is how, an abuser becomes an abuser. You're being abused. And so then sometimes the child will end up being a bully at school. I don't know, like in Amber's case, I don't know if she was a bully in school or not. We haven't heard about that. But this is what happens. And so this is how, a child will grow up to become abusive. And also, I just want to say that Johnny said she had a need for drama. Well, she grew up in it. When you grow up in an abusive situation, you grow up in drama. And so you become more likely to be abused or to become the abuser in future relationships, or you become more likely to be re-traumatized as a victim. One or the other. And this is what we see here.
Who said they have seen you instigate physical violence? Did they all come in and lie in court?
I'm, less interested in sitting here, relitigating it with you. I am not here to call any of his witnesses any names.
Yeah, like, let's change the subject here is what she's saying, because this is not going where I want it to go. So let's just change the subject.
I'm not here to do that. I'm here to just kind of talk about it from what it felt like for me as a person who sat there.
There was one more voice Depp's legal team wanted the jury to hear, Amber's. They had audio recordings of the couple talking about how Amber sometimes got physical.
You want to slap my ear again? So resounds in my brain. You like that?
I love you.
Huh?
I love you. I'm sorry.
In another recording, Amber was less apologetic.
I'm sorry I hit you like this, but I did not punch you. I did not deck you. I was hitting you.
There are tapes in which you acknowledge hitting. There are tapes in which you say, I started the fight.
I know much has been made of these audio tapes. And as I testified on the stand, what you would hear in those clips are not evidence of what was happening. It was evidence of a negotiation of how to talk about that with your abuser.
But I am looking at it.
Okay, nobody's buying that. There was no negotiating. That was straight out abuse. She's whacking his ear like she's hitting him. That's straight up abuse. And then she says, I love you. Well, that's so typical. An abuser will sometimes say that after they trash you, after they hit you, after they put you down, call you down to the lowest, they're calling you names, then, they'll say, I love you, and because what was happening in their relationship is what happens in all abusive, toxic relationships is a cycle of violence. So, you have the honeymoon phase, and then you get tension, then, she's stirring up trouble, he's stirring up trouble, and then boom, you have the explosion, you have the big fight, and then you go through the honeymoon phase again, and then you get the tension again, and then you get the big blow up, the big fight, and it goes around and around like that. And what keeps the person, in this cycle of violence is that sometimes the abuser is very normal, and sometimes, the relationship is very pleasant, and you have some really amazing time together. It's not always hell. It's not always abusive. So that's one thing that keeps the victim in these abusive relationships.
A transcript that says, he says, you start physical fights, and you say, I did start a physical fight.
I did start a physical fight.
You did.
But you're telling me today, I never started a physical fight, and here you are on tape saying you did.
As I testified on the stand about this, is that when your life is at risk, not only will you take the blame for things that you shouldn't take the blame for, but when you're in an abusive dynamic, psychologically, emotionally, and physically, you don't have the luxury of saying, hey, this is black and white, because it's anything but when you're living in it.
He says he
She
never
has studied it well.
hit you. Never. Is that a lie?
Yes, it is.
He says he's never struck any woman. His lawyers argued at trial. None of his other prior relationships, not one woman has come forward and said he physically hit them. You were the only one.
Look what happened to me when I came forward. Would you?
It was.
Sorry, what happened to her when she came forward? What does that mean? What happened to her when she came forward? I don't get it. The whole Me Too movement just exploded. Everybody believed her. And Johnny was trashed. Is that what she's talking about? When she came forward and joined the whole Me Too movement? Is that what she's talking about? Johnny's entire life was thrown, to the wayside. Johnny's entire life and his family's life was destroyed. His career was destroyed. So what is she talking about? I don't get it. I mean, everybody believed her. And now the truth has come out. And now she's gaslighting, and she's going on with this smear campaign, hoping that we're all going to turn around and believe her again after the truth has come out. Yeah, it's not going to happen.
It was a shocking day in court yesterday.
The attention seemed to grow day by day.
The surprises just keep coming in this trial.
But for all the intense curiosity, this was not the first time Amber Heard and Johnny Depp faced off in court.
There was another trial, dealt with the same substantive issues, handled differently by a judge instead of a jury.
Johnny Depp sued The Sun, a British tabloid, over an article it published describing him as a wife beater. The case went to trial 2 years ago in the UK. There were no cameras in court. The judge in that case found that most of Amber Heard's allegations of abuse were substantially true.
Johnny Depp has lost his legal battle with a British tabloid.
And we prevailed, overwhelmingly.
The jury in the U.S. trial wasn't allowed to hear about that judgment. And Amber says that by the time she got up to tell her side of the story,
I do.
the court of public opinion here had already turned against her.
After 3.5 weeks, I took the stand and saw the courtroom packed full of Captain Jack Sparrow fans who were vocal, energized, who'd come from all ends of the world.
We've been here all night long.
Okay. They were not just Captain Jack Sparrow fans, all right? I was not a Captain Jack Sparrow fan at all. I've never seen Jack Sparrow at all. I became interested in this when suddenly I realized that this was all a hoax, that she had been lying the whole time. I became interested in this when I realized Johnny had been destroyed, that his life had been destroyed by this abuser this whole time. This is why I got interested. This is why, people have come out of the woodwork in support of Johnny. Not because of Jack Sparrow, not because of a movie.
I took 2 buses, 2 trains, and I had to walk a half an hour.
And the jury saw all of that.
During 5 days on the stand, Amber told her version of the toxic relationship. She said the physical abuse began when they were first dating and continued throughout their marriage.
When I was walking out of the bedroom, slapped me across the face, I turned to look at him. And I said, Johnny, you hit me. You just hit me. I testified on the stand. I got hit for a very long time before I knew how to even try to defend myself.
In all, she described at least 12 times when Depp hit her.
And he's punching me with a close fist, punching me.
She said it often happened when he was drunk or on drugs. Right now, as you sit here today, do you stand by your testimony and your accusations against Johnny Depp about abuse?
Of course, and I will to my dying day. I know what happened to me. I'm here as a survivor. I, to my dying day, will stand by every word of my testimony.
Like I said before, the motto of the narcissist, the motto of someone with NPD is lie till you die. Lie till you die. Okay, and this, we know, are lies. This is a whole hoax, and this is just meant to annihilate Johnny some more. This is all meant to just throw him under the bus some more. And, feigning that she has PTSD symptoms, I've created a whole video on the whole PTSD diagnosis. I have worked with many, many clients with PTSD, and I do not see PTSD with her. See PTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, yes. Same for Johnny, but not PTSD. Okay, none of my clients with PTSD would be able to so easily go on and testify like that. I've had to write letters excusing, my clients from the courts because they're too anxious, they're too frazzled. And just go check out my videos, like, share, and subscribe. Go like this if you're enjoying this. Go check out my videos because it's quite interesting. And I don't buy what she's saying here for 1 minute. we're not buying it.
To support her allegations, her attorney showed photos of injuries they said were caused by Depp.
If I witnessed was...
A nurse testified she saw Amber's bloody lip.
And she told you that that was a result of the altercation with Mr. Depp, right?
And Amber's sister took the stand and told the story of one fight that she said included Depp hitting her, something Depp denies.
He comes up behind me, strikes me in the back, kind of just somewhere over here. He strikes me in the back. I hear Amber shout, "Don't hit my sister." She smacks him, lands one, and then he grabbed Amber by the hair with one hand and was whacking her repeatedly in the face with the other.
Mr. Depp, we've talked about this.
Amber's side also played its own snippets of audio. Amber talking.
Yeah, I don't believe this flying monkey either. Okay, the flying monkeys are families and friends that will believe what the abuser tells them. They will side with the abuser, and, from what I heard, Amber had been violent with her sister growing up, is what I heard in this court, in this whole trial. And so, I don't know, but she's siding with Amber, and this to me sounds like a flat out lie.
To Depp about
Testifying about sexual assault and domestic violence next to a jury in front of a whole packed courtroom of people who are expressing their vocal support and disdain for me.
Your lies have been exposed to the world multiple times, right?
I haven't lied about anything I've been here to say.
When it came time to cross-examine Amber about that alleged sexual assault, Depp's team pointed out the allegation only came up after her divorce. In court, attorney Camille Vasquez pulled no punches.
You testified you bled from your vagina as a result of that sexual assault.
Yes.
There aren't any medical records reflecting that you sought medical treatment for any of these injuries, are there?
I did not seek medical treatment after Australia, no.
Not for the rape?
No, I did not want to tell anyone.
All right.
In the end, the jury believed Johnny Depp.
Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes.
And awarded him more than $10 million in damages. Amber won a single defamation claim in her countersuit and was awarded $2 million. There's no polite way to say it. The jury looked at the evidence you presented. They listened to your testimony and they did not believe you. They thought you were lying.
How could, I'll put it this way, how could they make a judgment? How could they not come to that conclusion? They had sat in those seats and heard over 3 weeks of nonstop, relentless testimony from paid employees and towards the end of the trial, randos, as I say.
So you don't blame the jury?
I don't blame them. It wasn't, I don't blame them. I actually understand he's a beloved character and people feel they know him. He's a fantastic actor.
Their job is to not be dazzled by that.
Again, how could they, after listening to 3.5 weeks of testimony about how I was a non-credible person, not to believe a word that came out of my mouth?
But Amber...
Okay, I think the paid employees and the randos were from your side, from Amber's side.
And her lawyers say there's evidence the jury didn't get to see, which could have bolstered her case. Amber's lawyers are sharing it publicly here for the first time.
There's a binder worth of years of notes dating back to 2011 from the very beginning of my relationship that were taken by my doctor, who I was reporting the abuse to.
That doctor was Amber's therapist at the time. We looked at notes the doctor took during some of their sessions, which show that as far back as 2012, Amber was talking about physical abuse. In January of that year, she told her therapist Depp hit her, threw her on the floor. 8 months after that, he ripped her nightgown, threw her on the bed. And in 2013, the therapist's notes say, he threw her against a wall and threatened to kill her.
Her notes represented years of real-time explanations of what was going on.
Entered into evidence.
The judge ruled those notes were hearsay and inadmissible. Depp's spokesperson told us it's unfortunate that the defendant and her team are back to repeating, reimagining, and relitigating matters that have already been decided by the court.
Okay, folks, this is why I said Amber would be back. This is why I said she's just getting started. Okay, after the trial was finished, I said in my videos, in one of my videos, I said she's just getting started. Because I knew that the smear campaign would really get going once this is all over with. Okay, and what she's doing now is all part of the smear campaign. This is why she went on Dateline, because she's still trying to smear his name all over the world. You know, she's still trying to annihilate him. And the thing is, with an abuser, with, you know, somebody with MPD, they thrive on the drama. Okay, this is their fuel. They don't stop. She will not stop. This is why anybody that's in an abusive relationship, this is what the person goes through. This is what we've all been through, is this drama, this extreme drama, and it keeps going. Even after you're out of the relationship, the drama doesn't stop. Okay, the person doesn't stop. It keeps going. Okay, the abuser's not just going to walk away and leave you alone. No, that's not what happens. They keep going. They keep trying to engage you, you know, and you know it's up to the victim to disengage. The victim is the one that has to step out of the drama, you know. So this is why, you know, Johnny's doing Johnny is living his best life now, and that's exactly what he needs to do.
Amber plans to appeal and to move on.
I look forward to living my life, and I have a long one, I hope, in front of me. And
if she was looking forward to living her life and moving on, she wouldn't be here. She wouldn't be, you know, going on the news like this and doing these interviews if that's all she wanted to do. No, she's continuing the drama that she's known her entire life. This is what's happening right here, right now.
I'll continue to walk through this with my chin up.
So thank you for joining me and sharing the mega pint for this Dateline video, this Dateline interview. And if you would like to hear me, hear my reactions and hear more videos, please like, share, and subscribe and comment down below. Also, if you are in need of any psychotherapy, you can join my membership at Buy Me a Coffee. And there I share weekly exclusive content of amazing psychotherapy techniques. Bye now.